Brother, look at these two images. Why are they warped this much? What's behind the warping? What the hell is happening behind the scenes? Like, I mean, a lot of people on YouTube, they just draw this thing called the curvilinear perspective and they're like, whoa, warping, magnum opus, blah blah blah, and all that bullshit. But there's a lot going on behind the scenes. And I think you don't really know what those things are. So I'm going to take my attempt at teaching those things to you so that you won't struggle in the future. I think. Let's get right in. Okay, man. Now, to understand why all those things that those YouTubers said about curvilinear perspective is wrong, you're going to have to understand this thing here. Not this guy. This thing. The mirror. And this thing over here that we all call H2O in the scientific world. This video is not going to be a sciencey place, it's going to be an intuition filled place, because I realized that if I used physics to explain shit here, all of you are going to break your heads, and I don't really like that. So, what's happening here? Like the bottom is shaking and warping, right? What does that mean? Well, I'm going to explain it to you in 3, 2, and 1. Yes, man. Right now, I'm going to have to teach you something before we enter the understanding the mirror part. So, how do you define vision? How are you seeing things? Well, you are gonna say light bounces off of certain things, bro, and then those things like send the light packing, and it sends the light in different colors. Exactly. You are right if you said that. But only a physics student or some other science student would say that. So I'd be a bit skeptical if it came from you, an artist. But nevertheless, that's great. You understood light. Now, let's try and find out what the hell this mirror is doing. Okay, what's this mirror doing? Like, you can see my face over here. What's it doing? And I'm like, kind of like, if I put my hand here, it perfectly fits. There isn't no warping. There isn't no lens warping like what we see the other people use in the curvilinear perspective. That's because this is a flat surface. Like what's happening is, all the mirror does is that it takes the light that is given to it and it bounces it off. And that is how mirrors work, my friend. And I think you understood mirrors. We're gonna take to drawing out what we understood right now. What do you say? Now, brother, what I want you to do is take a fresh and new crispy page of your sketchbook, and we're going to take to the drawing part right now. So you see, we noticed how light is bounced back of a mirror, right? And we know how perception is essentially us viewing the colors and stuff like that. So let me just say, this is the bathroom mirror that you saw right now, and from it the light was bounced off. Now this is you, man, and you see that the perspective goes inwards of the scene. This doesn't really have to be very accurate, you can wing it too. Like the light goes onto the mirror and it pushes it back. So your character is going to be on the other side of this mirror, where like there's this half and there's this half, and your character is going to be stationed here. No, that's not an accurate way of measuring. What the hell am I doing? Wait, let me do something. Okay, that is one measure done, and that is two measures done. Okay, that's not right. So it ought to be in a place that's more like this, a little bit closer to the mirror. And this is why you'll have your reflection be. So whenever you're drawing reflections on flat planes, make sure to draw them in a way where, you know, how should I say this? There's like this other world inside of this mirror that's a place where all the opposites are true. So that's one way you can intuitivize the mirror. And I know that's a rather wishy-washy method of saying things, but I told you this is an intuitive video, so I won't go any more further into the science. Okay, that was the mirror. We understood it. Like, you push light here, light pushes back, and that is how this guy is able to see this guy. Okay, I think you got that. Let's go on to the next phenomenon. Okay, man. Right now I'm going to take to explaining whatever the hell is going on here. Like, what the freaking hell, right? How is this brush bending? Well, this brush isn't bending, my friend. Light is. So, what's happening in this water bowl is essentially what I'm about to tell you. But before that, just observe this crazy warping. Like, what the hell is happening inside the water, man? Like, let us know that too, right? But as I told you earlier, the light itself is bending. Like, how? So, I don't want to like break your head, so I'm going to use more intuitive terms right now. Okay, if you really think about it, if I put this and out, out and in and out, you're able to see clearly that this thingy over here, right? It's not bending. But when we looked at this same setup from different angles, we were able to see that this was bending. Like this angle and this angle. And now when we are looking at things straight up, the warping is there, but it's very minimal. So what does this show us, friend? Further, before I answer the previous question that I created myself, I'm going to have to ask you, what is different about this shot than all the other shots in this video? You want to say like, hey, you look like you're using a doorbell camera. Well, I'm not using a doorbell camera, bro. This is just my normal phone with a fisheye lens attached on it. So you're like, what is a fisheye lens? Well, that's what you came here to learn. That was a stupid question from my side. And well, what this essentially does is that it's like this sphere. It's better to show than tell, right? Let me take you to my sketchbook and there I'll show you how this fisheye lens thingy is kind of warping stuff around like this in this shot. Okay, man. Now, when you take a look at this lens, you notice that it's spherical, right? And if you think about this, wait, let me get my pencil. Yeah, since if you put light over here, we understood last time that light bent when it hit the surface, right? So what's happening is it's bending towards this place. All of them want to get here, and here is your eye. If you really think about it, this is not an eye. This is more of a crude example. And what's happening is essentially this. What you're able to see is a flat image that comes from a spherical body. So what happens then? Well, for starters, what happens is what's on the center will appear straightened to you. Like if I put a ball over here, you're gonna see the ball just fine. But as things go further and further towards each edge, they're gonna have to like compete for space inside the frame. And that is why if I put a ball over here, the ball is gonna look something like this rather than something like this. This would be wrong in the fisheye perspective if I did that. No. The ball will still look curved, but not this much. Truly depends. And what these YouTubers are doing is that they're teaching you that each lens is 100% curved. They're telling you that this is the lens that you're using. Like there is no lens in this freaking world that is this curved. And even the human eye itself, man, all it has is this much of a curvature to it. So what you're going to be seeing in reality is not something that looks like this. This is absolute bullshit. What you will see in reality actually happen is a gradual curvature that goes a little bit up like this and a little bit down like this and comes to the center and unwarps at the center yet again. You'll see something that looks more like this. Even if you had an extreme curvature, this is like an extreme case scenario. Normally, what you would have is something that looks like this. This is like lesser curvature. I think you can see that. So that, my man, is how lenses work. Now, do you want to draw with me a picture where we're going to use this knowledge? I presume the answer is yes, so bring your sketchbook yet again. We learned reflections already. It's better that we finish what we started and end this whole fisheye lens reflections bullshit right now. Okay, I'm assuming you've brought your sketchbook with you. Let me change the angle a little bit. It's kind of boring. Nah, this angle looks pretty fine. I'm just gonna use this one. It's like a little bit more bent, but fine. So right now, I'm gonna teach you how you can draw that fisheye lens. But you must be like, bro, what was that other thing that you drew there? Like, this is, how do you have negative curvature in a lens? Like, how is it like a inverse square or something? Yes, exactly, that's exactly what it is. But that's not a proper way of obtaining this image. Let me tell you how that works too before we get into the image part. Like, these are like two lines that are very curved, and this is one line that is curved. So if you go inside a sphere and take a huge look, this is how you're going to be perceiving the reality. Most probably. Or maybe I'm wrong, who knows. No. This is like more of a wormhole shape. If you like pack this circle inside out and you keep that on top of the lens, that is when you'll get dubious shit that looks like this. Yeah, those are all the things that you needed to know. And I think you're quite satisfied with what you knew or learned right now. You're going to be applying it with me for context. So first, we're going to draw a picture with the first fisheye perspective that is not curvilinear. Like, we don't have 5 points here. What we're going to do is that I'm going to draw two curved lines and estimate the lines in the middle. Like, the center part is less curved and this part is kind of middle, a little bit curved, and you go forward, sideways, and even more sideways, and forward, sideways, even more sideways. So this is how you should be thinking about curvature normally. And what you can actually do right now is the following. You can have your two vanishing points on the edge of the lens. You can have it anywhere. I see a lot of people telling people that they should be only putting the vanishing point at the center of vision, and I don't think that will do them any good. So we can think about it in a different manner now. So this is like the lens's projection on the screen, and we're going to have a square. So here is how I'm going to warp the square. And I'm going to do this in front of you, and I want you to listen and observe very keenly. Because this is the first and final example that I'm going to be showing you, after which we're going to be doing an illustration. Do you observe? Do you catch me on like where I'm going with this? So you see these lines as guidelines, and you curve along with them when they curve, and you kind of warp your picture in accordance to whatever is there and whatever is being warped. And the context, and in their defense, like the people who taught you curvilinear perspective, most of them must have been artists, so they might have not known about this lens shifting thing. If they were filmmakers, it would be a different story, because all they work with are lenses. So if they didn't know about this, nobody would, except for the people who make the camera, most probably. And yeah, this is like the same teacher guy who has his wicked aura and his students are being seated there. That's what I'm drawing. You can draw anything you want in fisheye right now, because you know pretty much the whole drill of what goes. And by the way, these lines, when you're falling down, every straight line that you put down will become curved just like these grid lines. And that is how you master fisheye lenses, my friend. I have never drawn much in fisheye lenses, but I've kind of liked the appeal of them in films and so on. So that is how I know about this. It's not really useful in most scenarios because, you know, this is only useful for very anxious situations and so on. And I've not really worked much on anxious situations. Okay, that is one picture of a classroom. Have you drawn your fisheye perspective image with me? Like, this is like a sad little classroom with a few windows here and there for the namesake. And this is like the rude teacher who's teaching them. Now, for the second image, I'm gonna draw it in a whole different curvature. this goes outwards, this goes outwards. So the thing I want to tell you is that if you learn the way they teach you with like 5 point and so on, you won't be able to do the second thing. Like where did that lens go? Yeah. What would happen if I put the lens this way and kept it? And what would happen if this happened? So you won't be able to make those visualizations, and that's why I took to teaching you this. And this is yet another perspective, and using this I'm gonna make a 1 point perspective picture. Why? Because I'm lazy? Absolutely not. I have a good composition in mind. I think that's mostly copium. Okay, so what you're going to observe is that straight lines bend in accordance with the grid. Okay, so this is the front of the room. We're not going to draw a classroom yet again because that would be boring, and I don't like boring things way too much. I do kind of like boredom when it like leads me to great art, but other than that, nah. This is gonna be like the television, and this will be like the view of a mosquito or something, because it looks like everything is so tremendously huge. That's because you're looking at things inside out, right? That's how stuff will make you feel here. And yeah, these are pretty much the tables there. And this is going to be a Sony Bravia TV, like the one I have on my desk. Sony. This is like an old version of what's out there and new. And we're gonna have an air conditioner here. And this is gonna be somebody's hand. This is a very rough sketch of a hand. I could do better, like a million times better than this, but this is a rough sketch. Remember that. So he's lifting up one finger for some reason, and he's lifting up two. Maybe he's counting the number of hours he's been watching TV for. Who knows? Who knows indeed. And that is pretty much it, boys. I think you gained some knowledge on why that type of perspective is a wrong perspective on lenses, and I think you were able to gain some insight today. Were you able to draw these two fisheye perspective lenses with me? Were you able to learn the opposite of a fisheye lens too? Now that you know how the curvature works properly, you will be able to estimate it properly and draw lenses that are not like full spheres, like I showed you. Like, nobody uses full spheres, man. It's a stupid idea to use them. So, except in some cases, if you want like to have that door cam view, you can use it. And that's mostly about it. You learned all of this, and now I'm going to take to giving you a summary of what we did. Yes, man. I do notice that we're approaching the end of this video, and I have come to the conclusion that I want to give you a summary before this video ends. Okay, let me give you the summary. What abilities did you gain today, bro? You gained the ability to draw reflections. You gained the ability to draw wobbly reflections on water that is kind of accurate to its surface composition. You also gained the ability to draw with different lens types, like a reverse fisheye lens and an actual fisheye lens. And I think this might have helped you understand why those people who say curvilinear perspective is just 5-point perspective, and people who say 4-point perspective, 3-point perspective, no 3-point, no 3-point, all that is bullshit. I think you understand why all of those are. And that's mostly it. If this video aroused a lot of questions than it answered, I'm pretty sorry. I could not use physics fully here. Otherwise, this would have dragged on to an eternity. I'd have to start from basics. But if you are someone who's interested in this topic, there is this guy called Floathead Physics. His videos, they are more detailed than mine, and he helps you build an intuition on science. I tried my best to build your intuition up here, but if you look at his videos, you'll be able to understand in depth why lenses work that way. And yeah, for the most part, that is it. If you want to learn physics deeper, there is always Feynman's lectures waiting in the form of books for you. You can take a read and they'll get like copy pasted into your head straight up, and there is pretty good chance that they won't go away. Thank you for watching. My name is Monish. This channel's name is Monster. If you'd like to share this video with a friend who kind of is also learning art with you, they'll also be getting some benefits from the same way you are. And well, that's it. You and I kind of gel really well, so you could consider hitting the subscribe button because you like unfiltered long videos, and that's exactly the type I make. Thank you for watching yet again. My name is Monish yet again. This channel's name is Monster yet again. And I'll catch you with another one some other time. But here's a brofist for your attention span for today. Like, good job, bro. You learned a lot of things.